Hey, BookTube! Here's to the top books of 2014.
I got my ticket for the long way round.
I had a really difficult time trying to narrow down 10, 14, 50 books of 2014 that I thought were the top books that I read, the best books that I read. So instead of doing that, I decided to just look at the genres that I'd read and tell you what books I really enjoyed in those genres. So let me do that. Let's start with new adult contemporary. I loved the book Unteachable by Leah Raeder. Thought it was excellent, and I've talked about that before in my Top 5 Wednesday Top 5 books of 2014. I really got to enjoy the On Dublin Street series by Samantha Young. I love that series. It takes place in Scotland, and it really opened me up to the whole world that happens in Edinburgh. The books by Colleen Hoover that are largely standalones, Ugly Love, Maybe Someday, I loved these. I don't think Colleen Hoover can write anything that I would not absolutely love. And Breakable by Tammara Webber, which is the sequel to Easy. It felt like a completely new book and not a retelling of Easy. Now let's talk about dystopians and sci-fi, kind of in general. Post-apocalyptic, let's throw that in there too. First of all, the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi wound up this year with Ignite Me, and I absolutely love that series. I love the story of Juliet and her journey from becoming a very scared, shy girl who's in a prison cell to becoming a very confident superhero. I loved that, and I love the evolution of those characters. They really stuck with me, and I really enjoyed that series. The second book in the Fifth Wave series came out this year, The Infinite Sea. Absolutely love that. I have a bias with that because it happens near where I'm from, so I know all the landmarks that he talks about. But I love the story about an alien invasion and how ambiguous it is. Who knows really what's going on in those books? It still has yet to be kind of revealed, so I love that idea. It's really stuck with me this year. I discovered Archetype and Prototype, both by M.D. Waters. Absolutely love those. They're adult sci-fi, and I didn't even know anything about these books, so those were a total surprise, and I really enjoyed them. The Partial series by Dan Wells wound up this year with the book Ruins, and I read that. Absolutely adore that series. One of the best post-apocalyptic sci-fi series that I've ever read, and I just loved the way that the series wound up and finished. I thought it ended on a really high note, and it was really well done. Another surprise for me recently was the Book of Ivy, which I read in December by Amy Engel. I really didn't expect to love that book, but I really did, and I can't wait for the next one. And I got to know the author, Amy Engel, through Twitter, and I really like her. She's very involved with her fans and her readers, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. Plus, she's a good storyteller. The Darkest Mind series by Alexandra Bracken. I fell in love with these characters with the Darkest Minds, and then we had Never Fade and finally In the Afterlight. Incredible books, and of course the thing that stood out to me were those characters that I just fell in love with. I think I'm still in love with them, and I can't wait to go back and reread that series. I'm going to save that for later this year, but that just group of kids was wonderful. I love the story, I love the characters, mainly I love the characters. I was completely blown away by the Conquered Earth series by J. Barton Mitchell, which is Midnight City, The Severed Tower, and The Valley of Fires. Loved the series, loved the characters, loved the setting, loved what was happening. I just thought it was wonderful. Absolutely loved it. And lastly, The Martian by Andy Weir. Oh my goodness. The suspense, the science, the characters could not do any wrong for me. I thought it was spectacular, and it was such a pleasure to get to read. And it's adult. It's adult sci-fi. Who knew that I would read something like that that wasn't YA? You never know. Future Jen here. Can I just interrupt and let you know that I lost all sense of brain function apparently when I forgot to tell you my absolute top favorite book, YA book of 2014, which was These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. It's book 1 in the Starbound series, and since then they've written a novella called This Night So Dark, which is kind of a bridge between the first and the second book, and then the second book in the series, which is called This Shattered World. It just came out, I think, early this year, a couple weeks ago. Oh my goodness, the story of Tarver, who is the reluctant and even resentful war hero who has been put on display by the powers that be in order to become the face of the military, and so everybody will like them. And the spoiled little rich girl who is the daughter of the corporate magnate that owns basically everything in the whole universe, or at least the galaxy. And they crash land on a planet and have to learn to get along and respect each other and make their way to safety. What a story. What a story. It just captured my heart. I loved being in this world with these two characters. It was amazing. Yeah, so, okay, now I will let you go back to past Jen and back to the list of stuff, but I had to throw that in there. Okay, see ya. On to the fantasy and paranormal. The Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Laini Taylor wound up with the last book, Dreams of Gods and Monsters. And the writing in that series is just beautiful. What a pleasure to read. And love these characters. I love the story. It just was wonderful. And it didn't tie up neatly. It ended very positively, but it left a lot of open things. It wasn't very convenient and pat and done. It was a real departure from that, and I loved that. A really fun series that stuck with me was The White Rabbit Chronicles by Gina Showalter, and those are Alice in Zombieland, that whole series. I love that series. I had so much fun with it. It's just paranormal YA, a bunch of teenagers who are dealing with zombies. And it was a lot of fun. Once in a while, I need a series like that that's relatively light. It's very YA, and it's just a lot of fun. Really like that one. The Blood of Eden series by Julie Kagawa wound up this year with the Forever Song. And I really liked that. I really liked the way she tied up all the loose ends with that story of Allie, the reluctant vampire. Incredible world, really gory, kind of scary, really bad guy, but it was so good. It was just riveting, couldn't put it down, absolutely loved it, so it really stuck with me as well. This year we got the Retribution of Mara Dyer in the Mara Dyer series by Michelle Hodkin. I loved that series because it was just so bizarre. You never knew exactly what was happening, and the way it unfolded into what it unfolded to, I liked a lot. I know it didn't go really the way that a lot of people thought it should go, but I really liked it. I thought it was wonderful, and that last book I thought was so good. It kind of catered to the hopeless romantic in me. And finally in that category, of course you know I'm going to say The Tales of Ketty J, which is the series of books by Chris Wooding. Retribution Falls, The Black Lung Captain, The Iron Jackal, and The Ace of Skulls, which I have yet to read, and I'm going to read that in January as a buddy read with some other friends. What else do I need to say? Spectacular series. Complete fantasy, sky pirates, so much fun. Absolutely love these characters. I know I'm gushing, but I can't help it. They're just so good. They're so entertaining. They're funny. They're crazy. They're just such fun. Absolutely love that series. I'm going to hate for it to come to an end with the Ace of Skulls. But, you know, I can always go back and reread, which is, yay, I can do that. And the final category I'm going to talk about are the short stories and novellas that I read this year that really stood out to me. Well, first off, the Shatter Me novellas, which were Destroy Me and Fracture Me. And I thought they added so much to the whole series. And of course, you know, we all changed our mind about one of the characters with that first novella. We were all completely blown away. Tahereh Mafi, to do that is just genius. She was just genius. That actually helped make the whole series for me. The novellas from the Darkest Mind series, Sparks Rise and In Time. These both added a little bit of perspective to the whole series. They didn't include the main characters. They kind of gave you a broader view of what was going on. It just really helped with regard to the world building, and I really liked those. Of course, I love that series, so anything in that series was really good. Stood out to me and stayed with me. The novella that went along with the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Laini Taylor, Night of Cake and Puppets. It followed a couple of the side characters, which was just delightful. you know, we were rooting for them all along, and of course we all fell in love with them. So it was just a little snippet of them falling in love, and it was wonderful. After the Bridge, which went along with the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. This had just gotten by me, and I didn't know it was out there. It's available online to read, and, you know, me being the hopeless romantic that I am, it just continued the end of Clockwork Princess. The story of Jem and Tessa, and I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. I've read it 2 or 3 times now. It just stays with me. Just that, the sweetness of it has just stayed with me. And finally, in December, I read the novella that goes with Colleen Hoover's book, Maybe Someday, and it's called Maybe Not. So funny. I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed at that novella. It was one of those rare occasions where you can get it on audio, and I love the narrator, and the book in general was just hysterical. So those were the high points for me from 2014. And I've been watching all of your videos about those standouts, and I've loved it. I'm glad to be able to add my favorites to the whole host of, you know, favorites among all of us. If any of those are your favorites, let me know. Feel free to rave in comments, and I will just rave right along with you. That's it for now for me. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my walk. You're gonna miss me by my talk. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.